Hi everybody, and welcome to the third in-line lesson of the Improvising workshop series. In the last couple of lessons, we covered basic improvising concepts and two chords from the C major key, C major and A minor. Patterns that we used over those two chords were C major pentatonic, and two arpeggio patterns of these two chords. In this lesson, we're going one step further with our improvising journey by introducing another combination of chords that can be found throughout modern music. This progression is 1-4-5 progression, or tonic, subdominant, dominant progression. In other words, we will take first, fourth, and fifth chord out of the key and improvise over them. Now, there are various ways of combining these chords into a sequence, most famous one being 12-bar blues or 8-bar blues, but we will leave these two for the next lesson in the series. For now, let's make a simple 1-4-5-1 progression that you will probably find familiar when you hear it. It's a part of many great songs, and now it's time to learn how to properly phrase over it. Now, with this progression, as with any other, same rules apply as before. For improvising, we use the notes from the key and focus on the chordal notes or the strong notes over given chords. First step is to analyze the progression and patterns. We have three chords, C major, F major, and G major, and the first chord was covered in the lesson number 1. If you haven't done it then, I advise that you do it now for effective learning. Second two chords will be covered in the next couple of videos. C major chord has C, E, and G notes. F major chord has F, A, and C notes, while G major chord has G, B, D notes. These notes should be followed within phrases. The key we're in is C major key, and this is the pattern that we will use. Next to this pattern, we should have arpeggio patterns in focus as well, F major arpeggio and G major arpeggio. Don't worry if you aren't too familiar with them, I will keep them below the videos at all time, but for best results it would be best to give yourself some time and learn them by heart later on. Okay, time for the F major chord, and let's try to look at this specific pattern only as a given note range, with no beginning or no end. I will use the position on the 3rd fret for showing you the examples here. The beginning of the note range can be any of these notes depending on the function. Over F major chord, the beginning is on F, so we should call this F to F scale F Lydian. Let's start by going up and down on the scale over the F major chord. Now, here's F major arpeggio, F, A, and C notes, and let's limit ourselves to only these strong notes. Same as before, we can create phrases that will use all 7 notes of the F Lydian, but starting and ending our phrases on strong notes. Now go through these examples a bit more before moving to the G major chord. When we play G major chord in C major key, the focus is on G note. So if that note represents the beginning of a scale, it will form G Lydian mode. Let's go up and down that mode so you can hear its distinctive sound over the G major chord. Excellent. Now let's use G major arpeggio pattern in this position a bit to see where the strong notes are. Now it's time for some phrases. Same as before, use the G Lydian for phrasing and start and end your phrases on the strong notes marked in white. Excellent work so far. We covered these two chords. We covered C major in the first lesson of the series. Now we can combine them. Since they are in the same key, they all share the same pattern, the same note range. Let's form a basic 1-4-5-1 progression. And more things come into play now. The pattern itself, the three arpeggios of the chord as well. You don't need to keep them all in your little finger. We are taking it step by step. First, let's follow roots with the backing. Second, let's try to follow roots, but let's add some notes in between them from the scale. Now this sounds very strong, more natural, but still very predictable. Let's use different octave and follow roots there as well. Excellent work! Slowly, note by note, we are rehearsing to follow the chords seamlessly and with proper strength. This should be enough for the next video. However, there are plenty combinations available here for practicing. For example, you can combine roots from different octaves, connect them in various ways, using faster passages, insert bends, vibratos on the roots to accent them, use different patterns. Feel free to do this after you go through this whole lesson. Now that we have effectively followed the root in this position, we can try to use some other strong notes too. Let's start the phrases with the root and finish on the fifth. That will sound less predictable. Or let's try using root and third in the same way. This will create a very different feel. Excellent. Same as before, try to combine different strong notes in different positions and octaves for more effective learning. And while doing this, use your favorite licks, but remember to adapt the starting and ending note so they match the chords. Now we did a great work here, as we successfully covered basic improvising techniques over these very important three chords. As you know, we only covered the position on the 3rd fret, but if you want to get full control over the fretboard, you should spend some time practicing the same concept in other positions too. To sum things up, we are using C major key and 1, 4, 5 chords from that key, C, F, and G major. We use the notes from the key and focus on the strong notes over given chords once they come into play. Practice makes it perfect, so use the backing track provided and practice very slowly, using the style of music you like the most. In the next lesson, we will focus on blues improvising over the same progression, which is a bit different concept. And after that, I will gradually introduce you to all the chords of the C major key and eventually demonstrate how to handle key changes. We will go step by step, so I suggest that you cover all the important material before you move on to the next level.